BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from pro and college basketball to UFC, MMA, and more. What's up, y'all? It's your man Lloyd Spence, and you'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. With live betting options, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable, BetOnline is truly the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Now head to the website today and use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use your promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, to receive your rewards. That's betonline.ag. That's where the game starts. You tell them the Noisemaker sent you.
Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Can I make you groove now? Yes, I can. So you can get this groove in the back of a can. I can make it round the world and it holds in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. It's a popcorn world. It's a popcorn world.
You're now listening to the Brothers of the Five. At shooting guard, it's your boy, Killer Cam. At small forward, it's Reggie Love. At point guard, Steve Major. At power forward, Al B. And at center, Mr. Noise, Lloyd Spence. And now, the Brothers of the Five.
Add one more plus me into the
Ladies and gentlemen, a champion has been crowned. We have a winner. It is who we thought it was. They are who we thought they were. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kansas City Chiefs are your new 2022-2023 Super Bowl champions. That's Reggie Love over there. That's C Major en route. So he's going to be, well, not anymore. He's out of route, but he'll probably pipe back in here in a second. But we are here to talk to you tonight about what went down, man. We had an incredible week of sports. A lot has happened since we last saw each other, as we told you it would. So we're going to jump right in, man. Reggie Love, before we get into last night, we had a development story that we woke up to this morning that is near and dear to your heart, sir. Shane Steichen. It's a name you got to learn how to pronounce. Reggie Love. He's going to be the dude. It looks like he's finalizing a deal to become the next head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. I got to get the reaction from the number one Colts fan in the building. Reggie Love, what do you think about this? No Jeff Saturday.
Hey man, bring Jeff Saturday. We're gonna bring him back as the offensive line coach. But no, I actually like it. It lets you know who they're leaning towards on the draft.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's basically saying here's the direction we want to go. We've seen what Coach Shane, I'm going to have to work on that last name, but Coach Shane, what he's done with Jalen and that offense with Philly. So why not? You know, I tell all the Philly fans, don't forget who you got your head coach from. So we're playing the game right back with you. So No, I think it's a great hire. It shows the direction, and I looked him up. I think he's 37 years old. He's
Young guy, yeah.
yeah, young guy. And it looks like his offense is innovative. It's the offense that what it's going to take to win in this NFL that's being played right now. So I like the hire. I really do.
It's an interesting one to me as well, Reggie. I think it's very telling that they went specifically and got him because as we talked offline, it feels like that if they're going to run that type of offense in Indy, which by the way I think they should,
Right.
they got a lot of interesting pieces, a lot of speed. Jonathan Taylor is an interesting back. He's similar in some ways to Miles Sanders a little bit.
Right.
So I think if you're going to run a very similar specific offense, you need that type of quarterback. Now, the names that I keep hearing, the interesting name that came up today was the young man Anthony Richardson, I think is his name. That name popped up today, but I think if I'm Indy, I go get. This is a reason why I would probably go get Bryce Young
Right.
because
or CJ will be your back.
Or CJ, right? Very similar skill sets, but you definitely want that type of running back. I'm sorry, that type of quarterback playing the position that has some mobility, has some speed, can throw outside the pocket, makes reads, that kind of thing. So, but I think it definitely is a signal to a very unique shift in Indianapolis. Indianapolis has never had this kind of offense in their history. So this will be very, very different. Chad, you with us, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm with you
All right,
guys.
in the building. We're talking about the developing story of the new hire.
Man, I agree with you guys, man. It's definitely going to be one of those quarterbacks that they're going to take to mirror, the Eagles' offense because, you guys got wide receivers. You got, Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman and I think Paris Campbell, over there. And got a better running back than the Eagles do. So I think, it'll be in your best interest to mirror what the Eagles are doing and, get one of those, Stroud or, the other quarterback to be able to, lead you guys. Y'all still going to suck, but I think y'all be better than what y'all are.
Hey, man, you can hang them up now. Thanks, Chad. We appreciate your comments. We'll see you next week, man.
Chad took a shot, didn't he? Chad took a shot. I'm not sure why he did that,
it wouldn't be a Cowboy fan if he didn't take a shot. It wouldn't be a Cowboy fan.
You gotta take a shot. So, and here's another thing that's also developing. I didn't put it up there, but the other defensive coordinator for the Eagles is also interviewing tomorrow for the Cardinals job.
Wow.
So it is a strong possibility that the Eagles could lose both their offensive and defensive coordinators in this move. So we'll see. But that's what happens with success.
Yeah.
I personally am rooting for the defensive coordinator for the Eagles because if he gets the job, they'll leave my guys alone.
Hey, man. Well, them NFC guys.
Listen, I love Wink, and Wink has transformed our defense, and I didn't want to lose Wink after 1 year. Now, I know Wink wanted that job pretty bad in Indianapolis, and I feel for him because he's an older guy, and he probably deserves to get at least a few years of being a head coach. But Wink, let's go on and win this Super Bowl and make a run, and then you could go be all you want to be. So there you go. But yeah, I'm excited to see how that turns out. So. Interesting for the Eagles, man, and we'll get back to that conversation here in a minute in question 2 because I think this is it kind of feeds into question 2. But let's get to question 1 first, which is our Super Bowl reactions. Gentlemen, we saw an amazing game, marked with a little bit of controversy at the end, but for the most part, I thought it was an amazing back and forth game. What were your thoughts with Kansas City versus Philadelphia?
Oh, man, I thought it was an amazing game. Both quarterbacks played really, really well. what surprised me though, and I'm gonna give all credit to Kansas City offensive line. Man, they played bananas.
That was my only concern, Reggie, going into the game. Could their offensive line hold up against that defense? And I was shocked, brother. I gotta be honest with you, shocked.
Hey, if I'm Kansas City quarterback, the great one, I'm waking up tomorrow morning and I'm sending them an email. And I'm on the email, it's gonna have a package of which Escalade 2023 Escalade you want.
It ain't like you ain't got it, Patrick Mahomes. It ain't like you got it.
Yeah. So Mahomes, you need to wake up this morning and send them a package and say which one, how to custom you want it, because you all getting Escalades today.
And I agree.
Busy at Disneyland right now.
Well, hurry up and get away from Disneyland and go on and hook up.
He can still send that email. He can send that email with the package out.
They got email at Disneyland.
Exactly. They got Wi-Fi.
Reggie, I'm with you 100%. Pay them dudes, man. Get them dudes some love, man, because they did their thing, man. No sacks at all. I'm not even sure I remember them really even getting real pressure.
Right.
Like, I think they kind of collapsed a pocket or two, but that
moved.
was about it.
But
yeah,
he moved. Mahomes moved around. Yeah.
He did move. He did move, but he did, tweak that ankle a little bit too on one of them tackles, which I was kind of scared of because I thought he was done after that.
Well,
hey, Chad.
Y'all do.
Chad. When you got a little thing with a needle and you can put it in his skin in that ankle at halftime and you can shoot him up with a little something. He was gonna be all right.
Oh, you talking about that? You talking about that Portland needle? You talking about that Portland needle?
Although I will say, to be fair to the journalistic integrity of the story, according to Andy Reid, he didn't want anything.
According to Andy Reid, he got something.
That was that Portland needle that they had. That's
well, I don't know. I think he probably got a little something. Just
little something. They put a little biofreeze on the top of it.
Right, something. Yeah, something. They put something on it. So listen, it was an amazing game. I want to first give my shout out. This is not our official shout out, but I just want to give a shout out to Jalen Hurts.
Oh yeah.
Once again, the Ravens have screwed themselves because Jalen about to get paid. Jalen might get $300 million. Real talk.
Easy.
Jalen might get $300 million. It may happen, which means Lamar might get somewhere. Get now. I don't know if that resets the market or it just makes Lamar's number. Does that make Lamar's number rise or it drops Lamar's number? Like, do the Ravens say, "Hey, man, you got to get at least do what he did"? Right. He did this in his second year.
I think it raises it because Lamar has an MVP on his record. So I think you know.
Yeah, he don't have a Super Bowl appearance though.
Yeah, hey, has he even been to the conference finals?
Nope.
So which one weighs more? I guess is the thing. I guess that Super Bowl may weigh more.
Hey, about to say it's all about that money. You get to the Super Bowl, you get that. That's bringing the sales. That's bringing the tickets.
I'm gonna tell you which weighs more: 4 touchdowns and 3 of them, and all of them you were responsible for.
Right.
Every single one, like 3. He was the total. He was Lamar yesterday.
Right.
He was a better version of Lamar. 3 touchdowns and a passing touchdown. That's all Jalen, man.
Right. And let's be honest, guys.
But he was responsible for one of those, that pivotal fumble though. That was the momentum changer at that point. So
yeah, but he more than made
scored on that one too.
But he
came
right
more
back.
Than made up for it though. Go ahead, Reg. You just say something.
Yeah, no. Let's don't forget about Arizona and Cleveland causing all of this mess.
Right. Listen, that's the real culprits of why the market is going to be so out of whack. Now, here's the problem with paying Jalen, but you're going to have to pay him.
Right.
That means and this kind of feeds in. So I guess I'll kind of bleed question number 2 into number 1 because they kind of go together. The good of it is Jalen's gonna get his money. We are pro get your money on this show. We cannot state that enough. But the problem with it is now you can't pay everybody.
Exactly. And you got some defensive players that you need.
Offensive and defensive that you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders may not be there after this year because you can't pay you because you don't franchise Miles, do you?
Right.
Like he's not franchisable. I would say I wouldn't franchise him.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they got some really tough decisions to make in Philadelphia this offseason. So, but before we get deeper into that, I do want to compliment Kansas City for an amazing second half, man. Talk about second half adjustments. That was insane. Like they came out in the second half, 4 possessions, 4 scores. You can't do it no better than that.
Right.
You can't do it no better than that. But that last score, we got to talk about.
Team in the second half.
Huh?
I said they look like a totally different team in the second half.
Oh, yeah. Totally different team in the second half.
They made their adjustments, yes.
Oh, we got to talk about that last play, though. The last most controversial part of it, James Bradbury. He's got Juju Smith-Schuster coming off the line. He grabs him a little bit on the jersey twice, and that was enough to get the holding penalty. And that was that. The reason why it was such a big deal for those who've been hearing it all day and you don't quite understand it, it wasn't the fact that it was the fact that it ticked off so many seconds off the clock and it killed the clock. Any chance of clock that the Eagles would have had to try to do something, because the Eagles were very content to let the Kansas City Chiefs score and try to get the ball back and try to have time to go down and do something. And they'd have had if they'd have let them score, they'd have had about 1 minute and 30 seconds or something or so to try to do something. Well, they all went out the window with that penalty. Do you call it? Are you okay with it? Are you okay with the ending?
Hey, here's the fact is it was a hold. There's no ifs and buts about it. It was a hold. Yeah, and here's the problem with that. See, if we go back in the beginning parts of the game, they got away with a few of those holds, and I guarantee those coaches was in that referee's ear saying, "Hey, watch the hold, watch the hold, watch the hold," and he's hearing it all the time. So sooner or later you're going to get caught with it. The question is, to me, that's not the question. Mm-hmm. The question that people are, it was no, it was a hold. The question is, do you call it at that time or not? Well, you can't. That's objective to how that referee feels. I mean, at the end of the day, you probably ask 9 out of 10 referees, and they say it's a hold, they're gonna call it. I don't. You don't blame the game on that. It was a clear hold. Even the defensive player said it was a hold. It was a hold. So, yeah. No. If it's a hold, you call it.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to call the game. You got to call the game fluid. And no, it was blatant. No, it was blatant. You could not. I don't think you could not call that play at that point. So I agree with Reggie. No, it was definitely a penalty. The player said he did that. So, like you said, it didn't necessarily change the outcome, per se, because there's a lot of things in the game that did go wrong. So I feel like that play was justified as far as what they called. Man.
But Lord, let me add this to it. See, people are not talking about this either. They got beat twice for touchdowns on that same route.
Right.
So that's what. Let's talk about that, because
that's why he held.
That's why he held, because he got caught up in it. That would have been 3 times in a row they got beat on that route. And
on both sides of the field, they got beat on that same field.
Yeah. So that's why he held. He held because he was getting beat. Same route. So you call it.
I do hate that they called it, only for this reason, that it would have been interesting to see. Because number one, it would have been interesting to see if Butker could have made a longer kick. He had just missed a kick earlier in the game.
Yeah, he cost me $50.
Right, huh? It cost you what? It cost you $50? Oh, my goodness.
That was my number. He would.
That sounds
My
personal.
number was 7 at the end of the quarter. He cost me $50. So
He cost you $50. I got you. Okay.
That's personal. That's real personal.
So no, that is personal. I saw there's a video going around on TikTok or Instagram, whatever, where a guy tore up his TV because he missed that kick. So so I get it. I understand. So it would have been interesting to see him if he could have made a longer kick because he struggled with that early in the game. The other thing would have been interesting to see if Jalen could have marched his team down the field to win the game. So I hate that we didn't get the drama that we wanted, but that was the right call. I have no problem with the call whatsoever because that's what you're supposed to call. And then I heard some people complaining about, well, but there were other holes in the game that didn't call. Well, that's any game. I mean,
Right.
but here's the other side of it. If they don't call that hole and Butker mixes the kick that could have got them in the position they got in yesterday, now we're complaining about that. Now that's the story all day. Oh, they didn't call that hole and this, that, and the other. So, right, the more egregious thing was that field. That field was terrible.
Terrible.
Man.
Oh, the field was horrible.
Yeah, that field was terrible. Could have towed somebody's ankle up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever grass, I think they said whatever new grass they tried out, throw that grass back in. Hey, put that back in the kids' playgrounds.
That ain't it.
Yeah,
that grass ain't it.
Yeah, it was terrible. Very terrible. Was that 800K, right? It's 800K.
I don't know how much it cost, but whatever it was too much.
Yeah, they need. I hope they had a warranty on it.
Right, whatever it is too much. So I got no issue with any of that. All right, so that brings us to back into question number 2. The way too early team predictions. Who are the contenders for next year? You obviously have to start with Kansas City. But I'll say this: if the Eagles lose both coordinators, and they pay Jalen, you gotta wonder, is the same Eagles team coming back? You know what I mean? Because that's not necessarily a small thing. When you lose your coordinators like Josh Allen did, right? Josh Allen was not the same player this year without Brian Daboll. So it matters, man. Who's speaking in your ear? Who's helping you see the game the right way? That matters. So while I will give a nod to Kansas City, who sit in a great position to come back and do it again because they've already paid their quarterback and they got a ton of cap space and they're all young and they ain't got to really pay nobody right now. I don't know who I would go to in the NFC. Pastor Court said he said they're gonna run it back. Okay.
Well, you know what? The only issue with that is Cincinnati. We're not talking about that. They beat Cincinnati on the field goal, and a play or two that goes the other way, we'll be talking about Cincinnati won the Super Bowl,
right?
Or the opposite, or Philly won. Yeah. So I really think it's going to be, to me, from the AFC, it's going to be between Kansas City and Cincinnati because okay, let's be honest. If Tyler Boyd doesn't have that injury, are we talking about this? So
great point.
Yeah, so I really believe it's going to be between Kansas City and Cincinnati again in the AFC.
Yeah, and you might have to throw Buffalo in there at some point just to see what they do this all season and what kind of moves they make. So like you said, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Kansas City. My NFC, I think you got to throw San Francisco in there, because they're going.
Who will be quarterbacking them though? That's the real question.
And who's going to be coaching their defense?
Right, that's the other question.
That's a good question. Yeah, but I think they'll give it to Purdy, man. I think Purdy is gonna be the quarterback going over.
Well, one thing about it, Purdy will not be available until sometime between July and August. So Trey Lance's job to lose. So if he does what he's supposed to do in OTC or the OCT, what is it, OTC? In March and April, if he does what he's supposed to do, it should be his job. He's the guy that they leverage the some of their future on. to do what he's doing, to be the starting quarterback of that team. So it's his job if he wants it, but we'll see how it goes. Let me say this to Pastor Cord about the run back. Here's a stat for you as it relates to the NFC East. In the last 18 years, no NFC East team has won it back-to-back division title. It has not happened. I don't know why that's the case, but it has not happened.
Hey, Chad, you see you're trying to open that for them Giants. You notice that.
I am.
You know what he's trying to do.
Well, listen, I am opening up for us because we do have 11 draft picks this season and a lot of money. So we're gonna look different. And that I think that kind of stuff matters. So and then that's another question. Who's gonna be the new quarterback in Tampa? Is it gonna be Derek Carr? Derek Carr said he is not gonna take a trade of any sort.
So they're gonna release it. They're gonna have to release him.
They're gonna have to release him with his $40 million. Right, he'll have a choice. $40 million.
$40 million. He's gonna take $40 million with a new team.
Right. So I ain't mad at him. So then what are the Jets gonna do? That's another one. Because I'm gonna tell you something, man. The Jets might be a quarterback away. They might be. Because they got the defense and they got some good pieces on offense. So if they can get a quarterback, that whole AFC East team situation looks a lot different. So I don't, man, it's gonna be. Listen, that's what makes the NFL so amazing. Every year at this time, when the Super Bowl's over, you hit the reset button and everybody has hope.
Right. It is. Hey,
exactly. We'll probably know a lot more after the draft, though, too, as far as what kind of draft pieces everybody gets and how they plug in.
What is it, Pastor Corey said? In the history of the NFL, there have never been two black quarterbacks, so it's time for a back-to-back. That would be nice, though. I will say that. That would be nice.
Put Dak in there.
No, that's not.
Hey, didn't I tell you to come back next week? Didn't we talk about this, Chad?
Let's move on to question 3. Well, as we move on to question 3, we have breaking news, and it's not good. It's Zion Williamson will be out, according to Woj, well past is the words he used, the All-Star break. He re-aggravated his hamstring trying to do a ramp up to get back. They say he will be reevaluated several weeks after the All-Star break. And I think that brings us perfectly into question 3, because what are your overall free agency reactions? And I want to start with the Pelicans, that they didn't do anything. I'm a little shocked that they didn't do anything. Like, what you got. You just lost 10 games in a row practically. You got to get some security from somewhere. So I don't know. I don't know what they could have done, but there were moves that could have been made.
Well, maybe they were making some moves. I always try to think on the positive side. They were trying to make some moves, and the deals couldn't get done.
That may be true, Reggie. You might be right. I would have. It would. I don't know, man. I hate to see this team. This team to me is really talented, and coming off of what they did last year, it would have been nice to see them build in some way off of that. Because what's confusing to me is that they were playing well without Zion last year. So what has happened to Willie Green's message that is not getting through like it was getting through when Zion was out last year? Now, I know C.J. McCollum is not 100%, and Brandon has not been 100%. So maybe that's just that combination.
Yeah, I believe after, if Zion can get healthy and after a few weeks after the All-Star, we can really tell, because you should see CJ will probably get some rest for the break. Ingram, he'll probably get a little healthy, and I say we see what they look like after that. If they all three of them get healthy, in the midst of going into March, then if you could find that 7-8 play-in seed, you just never know what happens after that.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds. I really, and this will be my last time saying this for a while, I really want Zion to get all the way ready to play ball. I really do, because he's too talented of a player for this to be his current legacy. It's the same thing I feel about Anthony Davis. You're too talented of a player for the narrative about your ability to be that you can't stay healthy. That you're too talented. So whatever you got to do to change that narrative, man, do that. Do that, please. That's my only commentary that I have to Zion. I'm trying something new, Reggie.
Hey, I have not said one word. I'm just listening right now.
Reggie, this is not a listening show.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
I am Groot.
It's very unfortunate, man.
Pastor Court going all the way in. He said he's too soft. The entire season not getting hurt every other week.
He's just out of shape. That's all. I mean, that's conditioning out of shape.
Right. I don't think it's a matter of softness. I just think it's an unfortunate.
He said the players. He didn't say Zion. Read questions again. He said
no. But I mean, he's talking about Zion.
No, he's not. We are not going to make this a Zion question. We're talking about the NBA. We're going to talk about. You said question 3 says NBA.
But we led into question 3 coming out of the Zion breaking news.
And first of all, this was not a breaking news. This came out 5 days ago. I see what y'all got going on. I'm gonna call it out.
It wasn't that many days ago. Let's start with
5 days ago, y'all. It's breaking news.
Well, we haven't talked about it on our show. So when we haven't talked about it, I'm just gonna say this. I don't think it's a soft issue. I think it's a conveyance of a lot of circumstances that we've talked about here on this show before. It's the culmination of year-round basketball at young ages that culminates and adds, because basketball hours are basketball hours. It doesn't matter when you got them. If you started playing basketball at 5 and you play year-round from 5 to 25, that means you got a lot of basketball hours on your body. And that doesn't change just because you're 25. So, that dude has a lot of basketball hours on his body. And I think sometimes that matters. So, but I'm shocked that they didn't do anything. And then I'll get into some other people. Shocked at Toronto and the Bulls as well. Did not see that coming. We missed on every single Toronto and Bulls player that we predicted would be going somewhere. Don't know why they didn't do anything, though.
I think Toronto was trying to make a move. I don't know if they were asking too much or what was the deal with Toronto. Every time I looked up and I heard some rumblings, it was coming from Toronto.
Well, everybody's trying to do too much. Everybody's asking for too much. You already know. You said that last episode. Everybody's trying to rob other teams. So I think
trying to get a Gobert deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that ain't happening too much. People didn't learn from that.
No, you're not getting a Gobert deal, and nor should you get a Gobert deal. Gobert shouldn't even got a Gobert deal.
Hey, Minnesota's trying to get that deal back.
Right. They're trying the best that they can to get it back. So no, I agree with you, Reggie. But those are the only 2 shockers as far as people who didn't do anything. Now, as far as people who did do something, I mean, obviously the biggest shocker of all was the way that the KD situation unfolded. Although we did predict that here on the 5, we literally predicted that was going.
And now they're adding Terrence Ross to that roster,
which is a phenomenal buyout. That actually is not a bad Mikal Bridges substitute.
Right.
That's basically what they're trying to do.
Then I also heard maybe Chris Paul wants Carmelo Anthony as well.
Oh, no.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
I'm just saying, Chris Paul, come on, man. This is not let me get all my friends together and we play ball together. No, this is not that. This is we're trying to win. No offense to Carmelo. But remember I tell y'all about that y'all gonna start. Well, y'all listen to me about younger. Lakers did. Rob said, Reggie.
My team listen, Reggie. My team listen.
Rob said, Reggie, what you think? I said, man, you got to get younger. You got to get the younger pieces around them, or younger go-getters around LeBron. He said, "Yeah, right, Reg. Let me do that." And I said, "Okay, cool. We're good." Tell Chris Paul, I love him, and I'm not saying anything bad about Chris. Leave that alone, man. Let the team do what they're doing. Leave that alone.
You don't want 10 minutes off the bench offense with Carmelo?
He's trying to be too greedy. He's trying to be too greedy and get it
They
all.
don't need that. You don't need scoring with that team. You don't need scoring. You got a big 3 or 4 if you want to say 4, and all you need is role players around.
This is where I would disagree. They don't have a bench.
That's the problem with a lot of
people. They don't have a bench, Reggie. They don't.
That's the problem with a lot of NBA teams, though. They have a good starting 5, but the bench is the most important thing at this point.
I think they have the same bench that they had before. They got a few. That's why you got
they got Damian Lee,
right?
They have
what's the backup point guard?
Cameron Payne,
right?
You're
really not going but 8-9 deep anyway. So
yeah, but you're trying to make a run with a 38-year-old point guard.
That's what I'm saying. You're not going but 8 or 9.
A 35-year-old forward with injury history.
But that's why you got Cam and you got those other players. I'm saying if this team is healthy, you don't need to add any more to this. You talking about players because you don't know what type of bench we have. They're not big name bench players. If you got players that come in and do their role, you got guys that's average can put up 30 a night. You got 3 guys can put up 30.
Well, you might have Chris Paul might be averaging, going 38 minutes a night, and that's not.
No, he's not. He's not. You don't need him to do that. You need Chris Paul. You need
Cameron Payne is off. You gotta have somebody in there.
Because right now the backup point guard is Saban Lee until Cameron Payne gets healthy, and then the backup shooting guard is Damian Lee until Landry Shamet gets healthy.
And you got those guys getting healthy because everything's happening. Listen to me, everything is happening after the All-Star break. That's what everybody's looking at, getting healthy after the All-Star break.
But the All-Star break is this weekend.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So everybody's starting to trust me.
Build up for the after.
Yeah, you don't need Carmelo. No offense, I love Carmelo, but you don't need that. Take what you have and let everybody else be that role. You got 3 people who can put up 30. Listen, 3. You got a big man can put up 30 and 10, 30 and 15. You got a shooting guard can put up 40. You got another shooting guard. I mean, I don't know what he is. He's a freak of nature, can put up 50. What else you don't need nobody else to score.
I don't know. The bench is gonna be very crucial for.
Y'all saying somebody to score. You don't need.
I didn't say score.
You need role players on the squad.
And I am saying you need both. I think the drop off from what you have as a starting 5, because ultimately the starting 5 is going to end up being Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, probably TJ Warren when he gets up to speed.
Yeah.
And the big
DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
The drop off from that to what you have coming up is a considerable drop off.
Listen to what I'm saying. You're it's all about rotation. It's all about rotation. You're gonna need 8, 9 in the playoffs, and it's all about rotation. That's it.
But Reggie, you're saying that, but the reality is, in that rotation, in order to make this work, you're gonna have to play Chris Paul more minutes. Because those guys, listen, Reggie, I hear what you're saying, but you and I have both watched Phoenix play. Phoenix runs with point guard play. Somebody has to get them into their spots. Somebody has to get them the ball. That normally is Chris Paul. That is not what Cameron Payne does.
Chris Paul is susceptible to injury later in the season.
Okay. I guarantee 30 minutes at the most for Chris Paul.
I'm not saying, listen, I'm not disagreeing with you on the Carmelo Anthony thing. I just think the Carmelo Anthony argument.
I don't think we realize the impact of importance of coaching and rotation and things like that. For example, that's what Golden State is so good at. Golden State knows when to bring players in and when to bring players out. When to bring you may have 2 people in who's a scorers and 3 people around them to do the little things. It's all about the rotation.
But that's my thing. Again, they may make it work. Listen, the irony of this whole conversation is that all of the teams that made trades have the same problem. They all got to figure out now, midstream, and with only 20 some odd games left,
Right.
how do you make these rotations work? Lakers got the same problem. They got the same problem. The Mavs have the same problem with Kyrie coming in. They got to fit all these pieces together, and the window to figure it all out is very, very, very small.
Right.
So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I don't know how easy it is for any of these teams to make it work.
Gotcha.
Right. Yeah. Because because you're right. It is going to be coaching and rotations and everybody accepting their roles, but some roles are going to dramatically change, and the expectations of those roles and the minutes behind those roles are going to dramatically change. Like some of these Suns players don't play the kind of minutes that Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges were playing.
Yeah.
Right. So now they're going to be expected to play 20 minutes when they were used to playing 10 minutes or 5. Yeah.
I mean, well, they brought in, they lost 2, but they brought in 2 more.
Well, the Terrence Ross thing is huge. Let's just call that what it is. That's going to soften the blow considerably.
Yeah.
And so if Terrence Ross can step up, TJ Warren can step up, and Damian Lee, who has championship pedigree, can get consistent, that might be enough to stem the tide.
And then somebody else come in. So who else came with KD from Brooklyn? KD wasn't the only one.
That was TJ Warren. That was TJ Warren.
Right.
Yeah. So if those 3 can step up, then I think they got a great shot to stem the tide. But again, same problem that the Lakers have. Let's go to the Lakers real quick, because Lakers are not exempt from this. Lakers did more roster tearing up than Phoenix did.
Yeah.
They sent off Russell Westbrook. They sent off Patrick Beverly. They sent off
Thomas Bryant.
Thomas Bryant, which, by the way, Thomas Bryant actually asked to leave, because he wasn't getting enough playing time, which I think is insane. But I digress. I mean, you listen. You do what you think your career is telling you to do. So I ain't gonna knock another man's whatever he feels like he should be doing. But I think that's going to end up being a mistake because he went to the Nuggets, and guess what? You're backing up Jokic. You ain't gonna see much time there.
Yeah.
So you're probably gonna see less time. But anyway, but the Lakers lost Damian Jones, Juan Toscano. Although Juan Toscano really wasn't paying that much, but still they gotta bring in a whole new. They bring in D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, Mo Bamba. They bringing in a whole lot of pieces that they now have to kind of figure out what their rotation. And by the way, their chief piece ain't playing right now.
Yeah.
He may play Wednesday to get them to start getting acclimated to what this is all supposed to look like, but they got the same problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, and I always said that it's the healthiest team usually is going to be the one that we really talk about, and especially in the West. The West is so tough and so loaded right now. It's really going to come to gelling and health.
Yeah.
So if you can get them 2 together, then you can come out. It's any given game.
Is Ja still good in the West?
Who?
Ja Morant. He said he was good in the West. Is he still good in the West?
He's not. He may not understand that he's not, but he's not.
I didn't think so.
Because here's the reality. Based on the standings as they stand today, let's look at the standings real quick. Matter of fact, we'll just bring those standings up for everyone to see. How about that? Based on the standings today, in the West, it's Denver, Memphis, Sacramento, Dallas, Phoenix, and the Clippers in the top 6 spots, with the Pelicans, the Timberwolves, the Warriors, the Thunder, the Jazz, Portland, and the Lakers right in the mix. Now, I'll say this. Based on what I've seen, and tonight's going to tell us a lot with the Lakers and the Blazers, but if the Lakers can make that thing gel the way it looks like it could, because they look pretty good they look like a totally different team against the Warriors.
Exactly.
A totally different team. Exactly. If they can make this work, then it is a strong possibility that 7 and 8 spot could be Golden State and LA in whatever order that is. And if that's the case, Denver got a real problem. I mean, Memphis got a real problem because I don't know if they're better than either of those teams.
Yeah.
So I think Memphis got a challenge. What do y'all think?
No, I agree with you. The Lakers definitely look good the other night with their pieces. D'Angelo Russell fit in, seamlessly with what you guys were doing. And, Golden State, we just need to get healthy as far as Steph is concerned. And
Gary Payton.
And Gary Payton,
Yeah.
June the second. And, that's definitely going to tell us a lot right there. So we didn't lose too many pieces. We added him and, as far as no guy gets Steph back. But I really like what y'all did. The Lakers, got shooting and, defense. So, it's going to be definitely tough, whoever Memphis plays in them 7th, 8th.
So who won and who lost?
I would have to say Phoenix won, but Brooklyn won too, man. The games that I seen Brooklyn play, they playing defense, they playing together.
Amen.
I'm really impressed with Mikal Bridges and them dudes, Dinwiddie and all them dudes.
I want to back you up on that. Not saying I definitely think the Phoenix won, but man, I want to talk about two teams that I saw look totally different. We're not talking about Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks is moving that ball. I don't know if you got a chance to watch them.
I have.
They're moving that ball. I think, they played back-to-back games, and when the second game they came back was Luka's game back. So that's like you said, like every team is going to get used to that, the movement in. But it seems like Luka and Kyrie are both trying to play unselfish, and that was a great thing to see. But to go back to the Brooklyn, man, those guys, they play hard. Listen to me. They play hard. They long, and they got 100 draft picks, and you never know what rising superstar can come out of a team. You just never know. No, we may look back here in 2 years from now, and we saying two guys from Brooklyn are superstars. You just never know, and I love that about them. So yeah, I like all the trades. To be honest with you, I don't think nobody made some moves that I really didn't like. I think everybody did well for what their situation cost them. Because Brooklyn, you can say, oh, they lost everything, but man, they had to lose everything. Look what was going on in that system.
Right.
So, they hit the reset button, and they did a great job hitting the reset button. You're not going to find, hell, you left better than my Spurs hitting the reset button. I'm just calling it like it is.
I don't know if anybody lost. Lost might be too strong of a word. I would say I don't understand what they did. And that would be the only team I don't understand what they did is Portland. Like, I love Matisse Thybulle. I think he's a phenomenal player and certainly a great defender. I just don't know why you traded stuff for him. Like, I don't know. That was a weird trade to me. I didn't get it. But maybe maybe that's one of them trades that you say down the road you're gonna see what we're trying to do. So to me, I wouldn't even give them a grade. I'd give them like an incomplete because I think there's something coming in the summer that they probably see that the rest of us don't see. Like I'm gonna give Rob credit. Rob said he had this plan for a while, but he knew he had to work it slowly and quietly, and so shout out to Rob, whether he had it or not. He worked it. He did well because that we've talked about it all season long. That Russell Westbrook contract was an albatross, and so to be able to get rid of that and then get the level of quality players that you got back. Because Reggie, one thing that I have commended you on and will continue to commend you on for saying y'all need to get younger and y'all need some guys that can play their role. And that's exactly what they got in Vanderbilt, in Beasley, and in Bamba. Those are three guys that just gonna do their job.
Right. I think y'all set the tone with that Rudy Hachimura trade. The first that's what set y'all.
That was also. That's also a good pick. So I think a lot of teams got this was a really good trade deadline because teams went and got what they needed. They got what they needed. Now, I'll say this, and I'm going to kind of stand on this a little bit. I do think Phoenix kind of pushed the chips all the way to the center. Right. This is not a we trying to build for the future move. They're saying within the next 2-3 years, we plan on hoisting the trophy.
Yeah.
And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But boy, they are gambling at a high level.
And man, let's don't forget about Milwaukee one move and Boston made one move. Then Boston, who did they get? They got what is that?
Shooter Mark.
Yeah.
Mark, what's the name? Mark
Didn't he have a good game the other night against Memphis? Or did
he was good. Hold on, I'll tell you his name here real quick. It's a weird Muscala. I don't know why I couldn't remember that name, but yeah, Mike Muscala.
And man, while
they're trying to get healthy, they're trying to get healthy right now.
While we're talking about the West, them Milwaukee and Boston health, if they're healthy, I'm just saying
Milwaukee might have sneakily
made
the best move of all.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing they were missing, a replacement for PJ Tucker. And they got a more than capable replacement in Jay Crowder.
Right. And
who actually got a better shooter.
Right. And he hasn't been playing, so he has his legs.
Fresh.
He's got his legs. And he's going down the stretch. Yeah. So I'm excited about what Milwaukee has done. Right now, if I had to pick coming out of the East, I would probably go with Milwaukee. I just think they got too many pieces, and Boston doesn't have a Giannis answer. Right. They just don't.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, for me, I want to see if Boston took that maturity step.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If they took that maturity step, then it'll be very interesting.
It's for me all about whose bench is going to show up. That's whoever's bench is going to show up. I think Milwaukee might be the deeper team. So,
well, to your point, Reggie, here recently they said, I heard something, the stat today that they said Boston has shot 65 threes over the last 2 weeks or whatever, and everybody's like, man, they're shooting it at such a high level. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't love that.
Right.
That's not who they are. That's not their identity. Right. Their identity has always been defense. Mm-hmm. And if they think that they're a three-point shooting team that can compete with other teams from the three-point line, I think now they did get better in Mike Muscala, and Grant Williams shoots them decently when he's wide open. But I don't want Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown falling in love with the three. I don't want that. If I'm Boston.
Yeah, they're missing their general though. We got to see how they
Marcus, and that might be right. Well, so I'm gonna hold judgment off until Marcus gets back. But if I had to, if you twisted my arm and said pick somebody today, I'd probably pick.
It's a tough one. So
yeah.
Is Jaylen Brown gonna be out? What's going on with his face?
So they're trying to get him. I think the last I heard, they were trying to get him a mask to wear. But he's out. But I think they're still trying to get him a mask to kind of help him with the fracture and figure out how they're going to, And then that's another thing, man. Once you get the mask, you got to get used to it. And
about time 2 games in, he's taking it off.
Yeah. He's got a little bit of a journey to go on with this whole experience. So it should be interesting to see what's going to happen with that. But I'm excited about the whole thing, man. So the All-Star. This is All-Star Weekend. We'll see what happens at All-Star Weekend. It should be interesting. A lot of guys are not playing. And so it's going to be a little bit anticlimactic.
Anybody in the dunk contest? That's the only thing.
I have not heard.
The dude from that was playing with the Lakers, Mitch McClung. Was it? McClung?
Oh, from Georgetown? He went to Georgetown to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only person I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Man, times have changed.
Yes, they have. It's going to be. I think I'm not going to get excited about any of that this weekend because it feels like a lot of guys are not going to be there, and the guys that they should be there, they're not coming. They've already opted out. So, Aaron Gordon said he ain't coming, and Zach LaVine's not coming, and just a lot of guys aren't coming. So I think we're just gonna have to accept the All-Star Weekend for being whatever it's gonna be. But the real excitement is gonna be post All-Star, post Sunday, when the season gets started back next Wednesday. And this stretch, this is gonna be a really, really interesting down the stretch, man. I cannot wait to see how these teams adjust after the All-Star break and how fast they can pull it all together. And then next week, I will announce to you guys, everybody who's watching now, we will start to get into the college ranks. Because if ever there was something that was wide open, is college basketball right now. It is wide open, except on the women's side. All roads to the title lead to South Carolina.
As usual.
I mean, goodness, they sent a very clear message yesterday. All right, so that's all we got, man. A great Super Bowl we had, a great Super Bowl performance. Shout out to
what's my guy who sung the national anthem? That brother sung.
Listen, whenever you're ready, y'all let me know, and we'll just go ahead and send Chris Stapleton the crown of live performances, because he don't have no bad live performances.
Brother, we ain't talking. Hey, I don't hear enough people talking about him. How he sung that national anthem, brother. It
was good.
I mean, just clean and powerful, and just woo.
He had a little bit of soul, that old.
Oh man!
Did you see him when he was with Stevie Wonder on the Grammys though?
Oh, I did. I saw that.
That was set it off right there.
Go check that out on YouTube if you hadn't seen it.
I'm going. Hey, as soon as we hit in, I'm going to see it because he had that. I heard him. I've heard of him sing before, but
right.
Like he did that national. He had that soul in him, man. It was. Yeah.
I will go to my grave saying Chris Stapleton either got a slew of black friends or he got a black mentor or something, because brother, he got, like you said, Reggie, he got the soul, brother.
Yeah.
He sings from the depths of his, he's bad man. Shout out to Cheryl Lee Ralph. I know she caught a lot of flack for singing Lip Dairy Voice to Sing, because racist going racist. So that's just how it is. Yeah. But who forget all that? She did a phenomenal job. So did Babyface singing "America the Beautiful." That was awesome as well. I did not like any of the commercials. They were okay.
The flag football one was kind of.
That one was all right, but that was a remake of basically a remake of the one they did for the 100th anniversary. So it was fine. I mean, there was a couple of decent ones, but none of them were like memorable.
Yeah.
I like the ones with messages though. I really did like.
Now Jesus, listen, Jesus came through hardcore on some stuff this year. Shout out to Jesus.
Hey, we need a lot of them, brother. We need a
shout out to Jesus. Jesus came through. But yeah, it was an interesting Super Bowl experience, and I think we all enjoyed ourselves tremendously. So with that being said, you guys got any shout outs you guys want to give out?
Man, shout out Dak Prescott, man. He came through with a trophy that the Eagles didn't get. So
are you financially obligated to shout out a Cowboy every week? Is that what's going on? Or a Warrior?
I don't know. May have a under-table deal.
I know we leave it, but you asked me about Indy, and he had to bring up the Cowboys. Ain't nobody care about the Cowboys. Y'all sitting at home just like we were watching the game. Hey. Ain't nobody. Sometimes, you know what? Let me tell you right now. Sometimes we do not care about the Cowboys. We just
Cowboys and Indy in the Super Bowl next year. Cowboys and Indy in the Super Bowl next year.
Well, I will say this: Philadelphia definitely stayed on brand, because as soon as Dak Prescott and DeMarcus Ware came out there, they tried to boot him out.
Yeah.
So Philly stayed on brand, boy. They said, we don't care. We Philly. We'll never give a Cowboy credit for nothing.
Crazy. And just shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs, Eagles, Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Yeah. It was one for the books, man. Two Texas quarterbacks that are black is one for the books. So
and shout out to them for the way that they carried themselves throughout this entire process, the honor and the dignity and the respect for the game that they carried themselves. Shout out to both those brothers, man. That was
shout out to Pat Mahomes Sr. too. Yeah. Him and T Morant, they kind of running neck and neck as them dads that just
hey man,
sit down somewhere.
Shout out to LeBron James for breaking the Kareem's record, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey man, and what he put about his family. That's
Yeah.
what's more important than that, man.
Yeah.
We need to see and hear more positive quotes like that from men, man, and saying, "Hey, this is just a game. My family and everything else is more important than that." You know. So,
Yeah.
man, that was amazing, amazing,
Beautiful. And I also want to give a shout out to the Lakers organization for honoring Kareem the way that they did. Not only just having him be an intricate part of the celebration, but also giving him a ring to commemorate him holding the record as long as he did. I thought that was classy, man. That's the way we should honor history. That's the way we should honor our legends. That's the way we should look at this GOAT conversation. It's not about who's the greatest. It's about all of them being great, and we keeping this thing called sports going forever. So,
man, hey, like we say all the time, we sitting up here debating and arguing, man. Just enjoy the
enjoy the journey.
enjoy the ride, man. Enjoy the moment, man. And I when Chad sent that picture out, when LeBron broke the record, everybody had their phones out trying to record. Then with Jordan, when our time, everybody, we're sitting there watching the moment, enjoying the moment, man. I think sometimes we got to get back to that, man. Leave all that negative crap alone and just enjoy this ride, man. It's beautiful things, brother. It's beautiful.
It really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree.
So there it is. I hope y'all enjoyed it because I know we enjoyed it. We always enjoy it here on the 5. We will be back next week with another big show, man. And like I said, we'll be talking some college basketball. We'll be talking NBA. We'll be talking. That's what we do. We talk sports. That's what we do here on the 5. We love you guys. Stay tuned because guess what's up next? Talking Noise is up next, and we got a whole lot more to talk about. So with that being said, that's Reggie Love. It's Chad Major, Lloyd Spence. We out.
Five will get you 10 when you're plugging in with the there's no mystery. Let's make history with the 5. Oh, the strong 2 and 3. Add 1 more plus me and do the 5.